City Chambers, roll call, please.
Francina Martinez,
Present.
Ana Maynez, Alan Brinken, Rob Witters,
Present.
Chairman Michael Montoya.
Present.
Have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Francine, you want to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. I'll stand for a motion.
I move we approve the agenda as written.
Have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Otherwise, we'll have a tiebreaker.
Oh, and then you have to vote?
Yeah.
Can you vote in tires?
Yeah, I can vote on ties,
Okay, cool.
but we don't want to have a tie.
No, we don't want that.
No.
Next item on the agenda is public input.
We have no public input today, Mr. Chair.
I did skip the approval of the minutes.
Yes.
Yes.
I move we approve the minutes as written.
August 18th.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, seeing none. Item moves on, it passes. Public input, Mr. Majid, is there any public
No
input?
public input today, Mr. Chair.
Okay. We'll move on to item number 7, discussion items. Letter A, October 2025 Finance Report, discussion and action if needed.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, the report looks good in general. The year-to-date budget numbers are off by a month. This early in the year, it's not really a discussion point, but I always concentrate on the actuals anyway, and I'll do the same thing today. In the general fund, on the revenue side, we still see a steady increase in our gross receipts, and we expect that trend to continue. If you compare this year's actuals to last year's, you'll see the trend is still increasing. The exception is the GRT, the 0.25%, and I'm not sure why that is an anomaly there. But if you do, it is still above expectations even at that level. So if there is anything to research or correct, we'll take care of that. The only other thing in the general fund on the revenue side to note is in the local miscellaneous, last year at this point we had not budgeted any investment earnings. This year we did. So we still see that trend continuing. Our investment earnings have gone from under 400,000 to over 400,000 a month. The yield has gone over 4%. So those revenues are increasing. We still don't have clarification on a definite clarification. We have differing opinions on whether we can use that investment earnings or not. We've been shown a general federal regulation that says that we cannot spend anything over $500, that has to be part of the program. But we have an inquiry with our auditors to see what they can find, and we still don't have a definite answer.
Have you gotten a hold of them?
Yes, and we had a conversation with them a couple of weeks ago, and asked that follow-up question, and they don't have anything definite yet either. So I don't know if this may be a question for the Attorney General or DFA stands with the opinion so far, and they won't give us anything in writing, that anything over $500 has to revert back to the federal government. That's a general regulation for all federal funding, but we don't have a definite statement from FEMA yet either. So we're not spending any of this money, we're just letting it accumulate.
So even if the auditors would give you an answer, would they supersede the AG's office or the DFA office, or?
Whatever answer we get that we would lean on would have to be in writing. Somebody's verbal opinion we can't stand on because we already have those. So we would need something with supporting documentation, either a regulation or a law.
Well, these aren't grants, correct?
It's considered a grant, an emergency grant.
They
The
gave,
98 million, yeah. The 98 million is considered a grant. See, there's two pieces, and you can help me with this because you've been in them on the meetings. There's a part that is, I forget what the names of them are, but there's a part that they just is granted to the municipality because of an emergency, and then there's another part that we have to request reimbursement for. And I forget what the two names are. They have different regulations. The reimbursable part is not a grant. That's part of an emergency funding program. The 98 million was considered to be a grant. And they're saying that that falls under the federal regulation that says you cannot earn money on grants. You can earn up to $500, you can keep that, everything else goes back to the federal government. That's where we are.
So what's the process when DFA don't want to answer?
I don't know. I think
Somebody
it's a
oughta-
chain of command. I think you follow up with the secretary or the governor's office. The governor's office, I think, their position, and this is not official, is that the money should go back to the state under our agreement. It does say that in the agreement.
And when you said you're talking to the auditors, are you talking to the City of Las Vegas auditors?
Our independent auditors, not the state auditor.
Oh, not the state auditor?
Not the state
Okay.
auditor.
Would they have an opinion, do you think?
And I'm assuming that our contract auditor would make
Would
the inquiry
contact-
with them too.
Yeah, okay.
and this is federal money, not state money, right? The 98 million.
Correct.
Well, this money would back, the interest would go back to the feds.
Yes. And I think that's why we're not getting anything definite, because the state under the governmental agreement is the one that's authorized to spend the 98 million on a new water treatment plant. So if the state sides with FEMA, then they have to send the money back to the feds. If they don't sign with FEMA, then their position may be, well, the state gets the interest on that. So I think we have a silent tug of war where nobody wants to take a position because they have a big chance of losing a few $1 million.
And how much is the total interest up to, counting last year's monies as well as this year's?
I think it's, let me see. I can give you a good number. 14.
What?
Close to 7 million.
It's over 4.5 million
Wow,
since October of last year.
October of last year.
that's right, I remember.
October of last year.
Yeah. We received it on around the 22nd of September, and we invested it on around the 27th. So we have a week plus 8 months, 9 months.
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Weather.
I have a question on the general fund
Okay?
report. Now, tell me if I'm miscalculating, but the way the budget was set up for the general fund this year, it looks like we intentionally set up a general fund budget that had a deficit of $7.7 million. That's just simply income minus budgeted expenses. And we could do that because we have over 8 million in prior year surplus. That's my word. I forget what the word is.
Yeah, and a lot of the expenditures in this year's budget are non-recurring. It wouldn't be very smart to budget recurring revenues,
Yeah.
expenses above recurring revenues. So, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
And we do have a lot of projects within different departments and vehicle and equipment acquisition, things like that, that are not recurring.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when the budget was established, that I understand that. Now, where are we on the budget? And the question is, are you still planning, like at the 6-month point of the fiscal year, to start looking at where actual spending is against budgeted spending and look at a possible budgeting, updating process to
Yes.
take place?
Like we did last year to
Yes.
reallocate some of the
Yes.
general fund savings?
Yes.
Yes. And we're going to try and expand that into the enterprise funds depending on their activity.
Okay. I think that's a great idea that we do that again this year. Do you have any idea at this point what kind of money might be available to rebudget?
Last year it was about 2.2 million. This year, because of the compensation increases and the filling of the vacancies, it's probably going to be less than 1.5, but greater than 1 million. Beyond that, I'm not sure yet.
Okay,
We'll start doing better payroll projections in December.
okay. All right.
The only other anomaly that you'll see on the expenditure side is in general services. We have an increase of expenditures this year compared to prior year. That's an increase in the project spending in the general fund. That is by ward and the mayor's allocation. The elected officials are given an allocation of $250,000 a year
Yeah.
for whatever they want, basically, within their ward. And last year, the spending was a lot slower. This year, it's picked up because priorities were set sooner and projects from the prior year were done earlier in this year instead of last year. So that's a reason for that increase.
You're almost halfway there. And right now, we're in November.
Yeah,
We still have 6 months.
but it's an election year. So, you're going to see more activity. We'll see less because they'll be running out of budget.
So I have a question for you, Mr. Madrid. So after the election, now we have, in 2 years, we'll be getting in 4 more members. Is that funding, when will you appropriate that funding? On next year's budget or
No, the following year.
the following year's budget? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is there, if you're not here and I'm not here, what is there in place to make sure that they don't forget to do that? during the
Well, if
budget
you're
year?
not here and I'm not here, then who cares? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Really,
No,
it'll be up to
will
the
it be
governing
city
body.
clerk? I guess it up to the city clerk to make sure that that funding is there, or who?
No, it would be the
Manager?
city manager,
Okay,
because he's the one that's actually tasked with the responsibility of submitting the budget.
okay, for that.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, and then, I hope they don't forget, there might be some insurance, that they might have to account for. Because some members won't, they will want insurance, and that's half of their check, or double their check
Yeah.
in some cases.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing that I don't think nobody asked and nobody touched base on when the forums are going on and all that, is that, I mean, it was just gonna be a 10 to 15,000, but then no one ever mentioned that 4 people might have to get insurance on the city's dime, which would be double the amount, another 10
That's
to
another 30 or
15,000.
40%.
Yeah.
Added on.
Added on to that budget, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
On your last page, are you there yet, or are you gonna discuss that? General funds on your investments?
Oh, no, I was going to go to the enterprise funds next.
Okay, go ahead.
There's not a lot there. The low activity in the gas fund is expected. It's a seasonal thing. It's not cold yet, so we don't expect those revenues to be up. The city did announce a decrease in the gas rates because of the cost of gas. So those rates were apparently renegotiated for the winter season, and there was, I think, 3.5% decrease. Is that about right?
Yeah.
17 cents per MCF.
60.
So that's going to mean a decrease in the revenues. It's also going to mean a decrease in the expenditures. So they'll kind of offset each other because we really don't mark up the cost of gas. So that whatever the impact is, it'll be a correlation between revenues and expenditures. So there's not much impact there at all.
So I have a question on that, Martha. So the current natural gas budget is, it's operating now at almost a $400,000 deficit.
Yes.
And I understand your comments on the heating season hasn't started, but are you concerned about that kind of a deficit at this point, 4 months into the year, and the fact that we just lowered the
Rate.
cost of gas, the rate? Does that worry you at all?
If we have a very warm winter, it could be a concern because there's 3 parts to our gas rate structure. There's a cost of maintenance, the fixed cost. We have to maintain the system. It has to be available to everyone. It has to be constantly operational. That is not negotiable and generally not variable. Again, we're seeing the cost of increased compensation there for all employees. Then there's the cost of transportation within the line. That is an increase that was passed on to the consumer last year. That's going to stay in place. So that's going to be both an increase in expense and in revenue. Same thing as the cost of gas. Now, if the volume of gas goes up, then that's a lot better impact on the budget. The other thing that we never talk about and has been an issue, I think, for many years, is the timing of the collections of the utility bills. And that lag, that timing difference, especially in gas, not as much, but in water, primarily in water, because the peak season is right at the end of the fiscal year. Those timing differences can kind of skew the revenues because we don't collect generally, definitely not within 30 days. The cycle doesn't turn over. Most of the time, not within 45. The time can be up to 75 days before you're even considered to be cut off or delinquent. So that's always been a concern, but that's, that to tighten that up on the consumer is a tough thing to do. And I think that issue's been avoided for a long time.
Well, that item passed on an ordinance, that now it's every 30 days and 45 days. It used to be 60 days, and now they shortened it.
They shortened what's considered to be the delinquent period, but the cutoff period is still, it's due in 30, then it's delinquent in 15, and then after that, you can add another 30 before it's actually cut off. So,
And then in heating season, you can't shut people's gas off, is that right?
there's a period, it may be during the winter, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the policy is. It used to be from the middle of November to the middle of January, but I'm not sure what the period is now. But you're right, there is a period where they can't be cut off.
But there is also a state law that don't allow you for health reasons.
Oh, yeah, if you have a medical exemption,
That's what I'm
you
reading.
can't be cut off at all.
If you're elderly or if you have medical issues or different things, you can't shut them off.
Yeah.
Right. But they expect a dry winter, not a lot of snow and a lot of cold this winter, so
We'll see.
I think you'll be fine.
Going on to the Recreation Department, the biggest thing you'll see there is in the actual revenues. If you look at prior year compared to current year in the general fund transfers, last year we transferred all of the money necessary to repair the roof. We're not doing that this year because the funding is already there. So this year's transfers are only for operations, which is a lot lower than it was last year. The revenues in recreation are still a concern. In some areas, the revenues have gone up. In other areas, because of the programs that have not been in place, revenues have gone down. I did have a meeting with the director last week, and they're going to take some measures to increase the revenues. And some of those things are, they'll be expanding hours later at night. I think instead of 8 o'clock, they'll stay open till 10. They'll also be open on Sundays from 12 to 5. And they'll change the fee structure, the daily fee and the memberships. Because the way it is now, your monthly membership was based on the number of visits. And if you didn't use all your visits, well, you could carry them forward and not have to pay next month. They would go back to the original fee of, this is your monthly membership. You can go as often, as many times as you like. And that should generate a more steady revenue stream. Of course, these things have to be approved by the city manager. But those are some of the things that they're doing to increase the revenues. There has been an increase in some of the programs. One of the ones that's coming up now is the YABL program. That's started. They'll still be collecting some revenues for that. So that's going to be an increase. I think there's going to be an increase in in senior programs also. And those had been dormant for a while. So hopefully those revenues come up. The additional times to be open and things like that are not going to have any more expenses. They're going to reorient the scheduling so that we have more hours with the same amount of people and the same amount of hours getting paid. So that's a general plan for
Solid
recreation.
waste.
Solid waste?
Yeah, they should do the same thing.
What, more hours?
Yeah, more hours. Especially on Saturdays. It's only open from 9 to 12, I think.
11:30.
11:30?
11:30. I go almost every Saturday, so we gotta beat the clock.
So, I don't keep track, but is the swimming pool operational at the rec center? Yeah, I
It
thought
is.
they had got it back up and running.
Yeah, they haven't had any issues with that in the last couple of
Okay.
months that I'm aware of. In the lodgers tax fund, we had kind of a lull in collection of those in the spring. Those, again, are exceeding last year's, and the trend is upward again. So those are looking okay. That one, meeting with that department head and the chair, you can expect a budget adjustment at mid-year for them because they only budgeted for the first half of events and activities because that's about as far as they can schedule. They're gonna be approving some applications for January through June and budgeting those ones in the next month or two. So we can expect a budget adjustment there.
Question on that. The budget for the year that's been set up is supposed to be a deficit budget, but there's adequate prior year surplus to cover that, and there's even more room for additional spending this year. Isn't there?
There is, and they've actually, I don't know if it's been reflected here yet. I don't think it's reflected here yet. If you'll notice, the capital outlay portion of lodgers tax at 137,000,
Yeah.
that's going to be a big increase by itself because they just delivered the lights for the Riverwalk.
I saw that.
They haven't been paid yet. When those get paid, you'll see a spike of 100,000 in those. So lodgers tax is paying for those. In the cannabis fund, there's really not a lot to report there. And on the expense side, we're finally paying the bills. The council authorized this money to be spent last fiscal year. The orders were placed. Some of the things that they bought were, I think, a boom truck for Parks Department, some riding lawnmowers, some other equipment, another service truck. So those are paid for during this year. That's what you see on the expense side. Same thing.
Wait, may I?
Why, Mr. Cruz?
Again, I'm back on the budget we've set up for this is a $300,000 deficit for this year. And that's somewhere around the amount of the prior year cash that's available to fund that.
Exactly.
Are we okay? Because it's pretty
Yes.
close.
Yes, The council authorized all but about 20 or 25,000
Right.
of the cash balance to be spent.
And you're okay that we're not going to overspend?
Yes, because the cannabis is a recurring revenue.
Yes,
Opioid is not, so
yes.
it's okay to get that low because it is going to be replenished. And it is a steady income. They haven't allocated any more money than that for anything else.
Okay.
In the opioid fund, same thing. They, I think we paid for the ambulances. We paid for the ambulances? That was about 600,000 by itself. And then there's some equipment for the police department. That's been coming in, we paid for some of that. So that's the expense that you see there of about 750. That was all authorized in the prior year. It was just paid this year. In our FEMA fund, you see very little activity there. We've only spent the early in the year, the money for water, I think. And we had to pay some prior year expenses for some of the earthwork and other things that were done up at the plant during the flood. So a lot of those are in there. And then consultant fees, right? That was early in the fiscal year too. Okay. Now the last page is the cash balances. You had a question, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, that 3.91% interest, that's just on what part of it that we're gaining?
On the state treasurers, the local government investment pool,
Okay.
that's what that is.
And the other balances, what are we getting on them presently?
On the Southwest Capital Bank, we're getting 2.5%.
That's on the,
And those are, I think those are up for renewal or not in either, I think in February, I'm not sure. Those are CDs. And those are going to be considered to be moved also because of the difference in the interest income, unless they'll match the rate from the state treasurer's office. But it doesn't look like they will.
what about the other ones?
The local government investment pool, that's
No,
that's
the
the state
ger-
treasurer.
The general fund and the enterprise funds and, those ones we don't get no interest on them?
Not on those balances, no.
Yeah, because
No.
those are.
Those will fluctuate.
Those are.
But in the other items for discussion, I want to bring you up to date on some of the investment and financing strategies that we're working on. But we can do that on the other items for discussion, or I can take care of it right now. It's up to you, Mr. Chair.
Just wait.
Okay.
Anything else on this?
Yeah, the 5 million. The last time we met, we haven't had 2 meetings, I think, of the Finance Committee, but the last meeting we had, which was what, August or something like that, the CD I thought was coming due at that point. And there was some talk about moving it to the state investment fund. You made the decision not to do that, is that correct?
Well, the decision was, it was actually going to be automatic because at that point, Southwest Capital was scheduled or intending to be sold or taken over by a credit union, I guess. That's the
Yeah.
proper term. Because we didn't know whether that was, well, it never went through. So the decision was made just to leave it there because that is kind of a big impact on them. And they did increase the interest a little bit, but it is going to be targeted for moving.
In February?
Well, possibly sooner. If it's sooner, we have to pay a penalty, but,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, we'll wait for that discussion.
okay. And that's
Thank you.
coming up here. And that's it on the finance report.
Need any action on this one, Mr. Madrid, on the finance report?
Yes,
Yeah.
if you would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion to approve October 2025 finance report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, seeing none. Motion passes. Letter B, Resolution 25-52, bar discussion and action. Mr. Madrid.
Yes, you have 5 different budget adjustments, 5 different funding agreements. I don't know if we want to go through them in detail. They are all increased funding for the city. The only one that is self-funded is the drainage project, which was authorized by the council prior to now. We just hadn't budgeted the money. That's the only item that is funded internally. All the other ones are from external sources.
So
What's your pleasure?
I got a question on that.
Okay.
On the $500,000. That means that the council has approved the deficit budget for this year has gone now from 7.7 million minus to 8.2 million, right?
Well, the budget itself, you could say that. The resources have been there since the council discussed this last fiscal year. So we didn't budget it last fiscal year because it was too late in the year. It was already May when it was approved. So now that we have a better idea of what it's going to cost, because the only thing that was budgeted was about 91,000 for the engineering part of it. When that part was complete, we got the estimate of about 500,000. That's why we didn't budget it last year or include it in the original budget, because we didn't have a good cost estimate for that project.
But if I understand the process, you're now going to increase the budget on the financial reports that we see each month by $500,000. So that means we're now getting really close, are we not, to being able to fund this deficit budget for this year with the prior year surplus monies that we have.
Yes.
And so you're gonna keep a really good eyeball on the general fund to make sure we don't walk into the wrong category where we don't
Absolutely.
have enough funds.
Because you're absolutely right, Bob.
Okay.
We've been very, very fortunate and kind of fat the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We've granted some recurring increases, especially in compensation, that we're really going to have to look at carefully next fiscal year. So, point well taken, absolutely.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope.
I'll stand for motion to approve Resolution 25-52, budget adjustments.
Would you like this one?
Sure.
I'll second.
The resolution.
First and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, saying none. Resolution passes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, I'd like to acknowledge a chewing out that I got from the chair of the Finance Committee. I don't know if you noticed, but in a couple of prior meetings, I'd taken budget adjustments directly to the council prior to them coming to the Finance Committee. And I was reminded of that by your chair.
Oh, yeah.
And so these are coming to you before going to the council this week. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for chewing them out.
Thank you for the chewing out, and thank you for bringing it to us fresh.
I think that's our purpose here, no?
Yep.
Other items of discussion.
The only one that I have is nothing formal, but it is something that the Finance Committee should be aware of. Because of some discussion that we've had with the committee and especially with Mr. Witters on our investment strategy, okay? Once we got through the fiscal year and we got the audit in progress, well, I've had some time to do a better analysis. And the analysis that I'm doing, and I got fairly far along, is an analysis of cash flow cycles for each fund for the whole year. What I did was I took all the funds and I mapped their cash balances month by month. And the idea was to find out where the ceiling and the floor were, maximum and minimum cash balances, to see what the range is. And let me see if I see an example here. I'll just pick a fund here that the maximum was 9 million. The minimum was 7.2 million. That's 1 year for the general fund. And this is last fiscal year, it's not current. But the theory was, let's find out what the maximum is and the minimum. And if the minimum is 7.2 million, it never goes below that, then with a certain cushion, which I just determined to be 25%, I could take 7.2 million and multiply that times 75% and consider that available for investment and still have theoretically a 25% cushion, even though if we needed to demand that money back into our local bank, we could do that in a matter of 2 or 3 days. So we would have that cushion plus a quick turnaround. And I took that and I did that analysis for each fund up through last fiscal year. And I identified almost 13 million that could be invested with confidence and without reservation at all. There are some funds that do not fluctuate because they're dormant. We could invest 90% of those funds.
Why not 100?
Well, maybe 100.
Because you can gain access to the monies from the state investment fund overnight, can't you?
Well, it takes a couple of days, but yeah, very quickly, not
Quickly,
overnight,
yeah,
but
okay.
very quickly. So I did that with the enterprise funds also. And I almost came up with a number. I didn't quite finish all of the enterprise funds. And my time had to be redirected to another financial issue that I think you all should be aware of. And that issue is, I'm not sure how familiar you are or how much you've studied our audit report and our debt service schedule. Well, with the New Mexico Finance Authority, we have a number of loans. Some are large, some are small, some are really, really small. Some are about to end. Some are at a higher interest rate than we could obtain now. So the task that I was given was to explore what our capacity is in restructuring, refinancing, extinguishing our debts with New Mexico Finance Authority. And I've been in contact with Ryan Olguin to do that. So there's going to be 2 steps to that. The first one that I discussed with him just this morning was, if we restructured our debt and brought it all into line and eliminated the little ones that we don't need to worry about, some of them we could just pay with a check today. They're that small. Some of them, the interest rates have dropped. We could refinance them. We could refinance them and extend them to give us more borrowing capacity. And what we may end up doing is determining what our line of credit is. Let's say our total debt service is 1.3 million per year. Well, how much in our restructuring could we gain in capital and keep the same debt service? Because it won't be any budget impact at all. Maybe that's 3 million, maybe it's 7 million, maybe it's more, maybe it's not as much. That's the first number that we want to identify. Second number that we want to identify, because we do show a very good trend in our gross receipts, and that's usually what we don't necessarily use to pay the debt, but that's what we use to guarantee that it'll be paid. And they want to see a good trend in that, and we have a good trend. So there'll be 2 pieces. What could we do without changing anything? And if we wanted to borrow 2 or 3, 5, 10, 15 million, for example, maybe to build a new city hall, how much would it cost us? And what other revenue streams might we have available? I know that the city forever has had a 1/8% quality of life tax that we've never asked for approval on. that would have to be something that would have to go on the ballot, just like Phase 2 of the Recreation Center did. And that's another question that we're trying to answer now is, that 1/8 of 1% that we're still collecting, even though we don't have that debt for Phase 2 anymore, how long can we collect it? And what can we use it for? Can we redirect that? Is that a valid question? The original documents that were used to place that on the ballot in, was it 2002, Counselor? Those documents are very vague. So where the documents specified exactly what had to be built in Phase 2. 3 basketball courts, a skate park, 4 racquetball courts, an exercise area. And those things were done, but it doesn't talk about how long that tax would be in effect. It says how much and what it would be based on, but it doesn't declare a term. So those are the things we're researching now. And I'll have a better update for you next month on where that stands.
Morris, just to review and help me a little bit, back on the cash flow analysis.
Yeah.
Where you are right now, and I heard you say that you're almost there but not quite done with that. How much do you think you could take and move to the New Mexico finance, or to the state investment fund? I heard a 13 million number. What?
Yeah.
Is that kind of it for right now, realizing?
No, it could be higher because the funds that I'm looking at are the higher cash balances. For example, in solid waste or gas construction. I don't know what their plan is in their projects. So if their plan is going to be extended out because of the winter season, if they're going to stop that, then I could take more of that and be comfortable in leaving it there till spring. So I think it'll be a minimum of 8 million that we could do today. It could be as high as 15 to 16. But that task and that number I'll bring to you next meeting.
Got it. So,
And hopefully the transfers will have already been made by next meeting.
okay, cool. And I will tell you, I will anxiously await your next month's analysis in that area.
If you like, I can share it with you sooner than the meeting if
No,
you
no,
like.
that's okay, that's okay. I don't wanna cause any issues here. Second of all, debt restructuring. It's been one of my contentions for a long time that one of the things we ought to consider doing is the city owes 3.1 million, question mark, on the Section 8 housing debacle, my words, that we had in the past. And my understanding is we're paying 150 grand a year towards that debt that we owe. Are those the right numbers at this point?
I'm not sure if it's 150. I thought it was 300. We have an idea? I thought it was 300,000 a year.
I thought it was 250.
I think it's 300.
And then I was told it was 150, and I remember seeing a check go out, because I think we pay it in one payment.
Yeah.
A year, one payment a year. And I don't remember what that amount was. But if you're looking at debt restructuring, and if you're looking at taking some of the cash we have, should we pay off that loan and get that off the books, get that problem?
Well, there's two sides. Go ahead and answer, Mr. Chair. I'll give my answer too.
You know, the thing is, you go borrow $1 million at low interest rate. Why would you want to pay it back? Wouldn't you rather use that money somewhere else? and make it earn your money. This loan is a low interest, what's the interest rate? Mr.
Interest rate is 0.
0% interest.
And
0%
that's been the
interest
reason
loan.
that it hasn't been
So I would, I personally, I would not pay a 0% interest loan till it's due. Let me put it that way.
Okay, I
Because
understand that.
I know it's in the books, but again, you're using that money for your advantage. What's done is done, and yeah, it'll have to be repaid, but what's your answer, Mr.
Yeah,
Madrid?
what's your answer?
Well, it's kind of the same thing, because if we took that and paid it off, and let's say the balance is, I don't know what it is, let's say it's $800,000. Well, that's $800,000 in cash that's not available for investment. And like the chair says, it can work for us. If we leave it there, we're not paying anything on it, but that's how banks operate. You get it low and lend it out higher.
Okay.
Real quick to confirm, that payment is $150,000 per year.
150 a year.
Yes, sir.
And how many more years do we have left on that? Do you know?
10 years.
No, it's more like 30.
Do you have the balance on it? No?
It's okay. I just, and I know what I would do if I were you, Morris, and I'm not, is I would call up the Section 8 folks and say, hey, if we paid this off today, give me my reduced amount that I have to pay you off and get actually a discount on the process.
Actually, I think that was done about 4 or 5 years ago,
Okay?
and there's no negotiating in it.
They wouldn't
It's-
negotiate. Okay.
Right.
That's fair.
It's a court's decision, wasn't it?
I think it was a settlement agreement
Settlement agreement.
that was filed in the court, yeah. I don't think it was
There's
So,
nothing
yeah,
to
you-
negotiate
judgment.
there anymore.
Don't
in
want
other
to,
words.
don't want to mess with
Yeah.
that. Yep,
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Thank you.
You had something else, Mr. Madrid, earlier on that you want to discuss?
This was it.
Oh, this was
This was
it.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the update on both activities.
What's letter D, October 2025 AP check report? Mr. Wieters. Question.
I have 3 questions, if I might. My first question is page 4. It's Albuquerque cabling. It's for $768. There's a lot more in there. But when you go through the bill to Albuquerque cabling on page 4, it starts with $768 paid out of account 230, and then the rest of it, which is, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 more, comes out of account 280. Is that a payment out of account 230 correct, or should it be 280?
I think it may be the other way around. No.
No, I think it,
Okay. They do work for more than one department. So I think they're both okay, but I'll verify that.
okay.
Because they do work for, the 280 is recreation, and I'm not sure what the 230 is.
And I think that the work was for the rec center.
Right, the 280, that is all at the rec center.
Yeah.
The 230, I'm not sure.
Well, 230 are special funds, according to my little notes, miscellaneous and special projects is account 230. And I don't know what special fund we would use.
That's the general fund.
Savings account?
General fund savings.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be an error.
I think that looks like an
So
error.
good catch, Mr. Whitaker.
Yeah, it looks like it should all be in the 280.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Okay. I
So
think
take
you're
a
right.
look at that.
We'll verify that.
Page 31, there are multiple payments due to Landmark Community Newspaper, and they all talk about past due.
Yes,
why, a total almost $5,000, why aren't we paying our bills on time?
Because they hadn't renewed the contract on time. That goes back to the department.
The department,
Yes.
is there any accountability at this point?
That's a question for the
City manager?
executive management.
I know. Have you requested,
Well, all of
have you
these had to.
requested that there be,
Absolutely,
taken?
absolutely.
All right,
There's
thank
got to
you.
be consequence for every
Yeah.
violation like that.
Yeah, okay. And my last question is page 33. It's Rocky Road, and the payment is 13,000 plus, and it's for the demo of a house at 412 San Miguel Street.
Yes.
And it uses account code 107 to pay that bill. How does that work? What is account 107? And it's, I show it as the title being abatement, and I think what it is it's properties that the city inherits or has to pay money against, and they hope to recover that money through ending up being, the property being foreclosed, the city selling that property. Am I right about account 107?
Yes. When it's declared a nuisance
Yes,
and we abate it,
yes,
we take that amount and place a lien on the property.
yes,
So when it's sold, we get our money back.
yes,
That's how it works.
yes. And right now, after you paid last month's bills, how much money is left in account 107?
That specific account, our
How big is that?
we budgeted 50,000, and our budget available is 23,051.
If you recall, Mr. Wieters, that's an item that was left out on our budget, and I
Yeah,
insisted that we put in $100,000 for abatement fund.
yeah. And did we do that, or did we put 50?
No, there was 100, go ahead.
We put 50,000 in maintenance of buildings and grounds and another additional 50,000 in other professional services.
Oh, okay,
There was $100,000.
okay.
And
All right.
that doesn't mean that we're utilizing all that funding for that. If we can do something in-house, we'll do it in-house with our
Nice.
crews. If it's a small house and depends what the structure looks like, this and the other. I mean, there's some that we have done in-house with our departments and our employees. But there's some of them that we just have contracted out the contractor that does the demolishing.
Yeah.
And they take care of it all. We've had quite a few properties that we have done that too. I'm going to say at least 4 or so. There's probably about another, I've asked for a list, but I've never gotten it. But I'm sure that there's at least another 7 properties that, it's a process, red tagging, notifying the individuals, the property owners, giving them adequate time to do the necessary remodeling or things that they need to do to make it secured or safe and fence it up or whatever it takes. But at the end of the day, if none of that stuff is done, and we had one property that the owner donated it to the city because he couldn't incur the cost of removal. So he'd say, just take it over and you guys deal with it. And we did. That was at Alto Sapo Club up on
Caprio Street, on top of the
Sapelo
hill,
Street, yeah, up the hill.
the old El Alto location.
And that's the location now that the city is looking at developing for housing.
Yeah.
So there's been other properties, but yeah, that's the line item, that's the budget that we use for that purpose. Otherwise, it'd be coming out of our general fund, and we really don't want to do that. We want to keep track separately on what's going on in that.
And so when some of those monies are recovered through the lien process, where does that income go?
Back into that same fund?
Back to that fund?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a revolving fund.
And how much is in there now, did you say?
The 50,000 plus an additional $23,051.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Francine, any questions? Yeah, do you have anything else that we ought to know about this check, report, Mr. Merger?
No, there is one item that is under discussion that may affect, may or may not, we don't know yet. And we have an appointment to talk to the auditors about it this week. And during the federal shutdown, that changed a lot of the federal calendars. They moved back the deadline for the completion of single audits regarding federal funding into January, which conflicts with our deadline of December 15th to have the audit complete. We don't know whether the state auditor is going to move any of the deadlines forward because of that or not. But we don't think it'll affect us. We're assuming it's not going to change.
So you're gonna shoot for mid-December?
Yes,
Got it.
that's our target. And we're on track for that.
Does that mean your federal grants will be changed?
Only if we have major programs, which are considered to be 750,000 or above. We do have some in FEMA, but our auditor has informed us that because it's ongoing and it just started, those are not going to be considered for compliance audit this year. Well, I'm sorry, FY25. In FY26 that we are in now, yes, they will be, but not in FY25 because it was so close to the end of the year. But other than that, I think you've been informed of everything.
Any other questions?
No.
Well, it is November 17th, 3:05 p.m. Our next scheduled meeting is December the 15th, 2025, same place, same time, 2 p.m. Chambers. That will be my last meeting with the city of Las Vegas. And I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. And thank you for your service. And we'll see you next month. Call for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting adjourned. I have another meeting to go to.